Well, I decided to keep watching. I decided I might as well see what happens in episode 2 of the show that doesn't have the right music.
Which not you, but which a mutual friend of ours has brought
Carl.
up since it's
Carl
come
jumped
up.
on it.
It's you're not alone. And again, I won't moonwalk back because I wasn't strongly against it. I am riding the fence where I see it and I wouldn't have disliked it, but I also see the merit in not doing it. And it's a catch-22. It's interesting that you say.
Wait. Hello and welcome.
Oh, yes. Hello. Welcome to the Lord of the Rings podcast, which is technically the Movie Men podcast. I'm Peter. That's Brady. And we continue our series in obviously the most expensive Amazon TV show ever made, and Rings of Power, episode 2.
Yep. What were you going to say?
Well, it's funny that you were joking, saying, hey, I've decided to continue. I've decided to keep watching. And obviously, a lot of people say things online like, oh, I'm not watching this or I'm not doing that. And it's really just a joke, or a lie. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have watched this show, but I was in a weird space between episode 1 and 2 where I know they came out at the same time, but there was a bit of a delay when I watched them. I didn't just watch them back to back. And I had some time to watch episode 2, and I didn't watch it at those certain times. I wasn't thirsty for it. I had watched episode 1, didn't mind it. We've talked about it. The listener can go back and listen if they obviously want to hear what we said. But I wasn't blown away enough that I just had to hit play on episode 2 and circle my evening, and that's what I was doing that night. So you kind of jokingly said that, but obviously I went back and returned, and I've listened, and I've watched the second episode.
Contractually obligated at this point.
Contractually obligated, but I wasn't. It wasn't a heightened priority of mine to watch it as soon as I could. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what that meant.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it means you're more into Firefly than you are Lord of the Rings.
LOL.
Yeah, Carl. Anyways, I just want to say, Carl not only agreed with me, but he totally nailed the sentiment, because it was I'm not looking for a full theme. I'm not looking to hey, just use the soundtrack that we've gotten before. It's 3 or 4 notes that are reminiscent of they did it with was it in Man of Steel, or was it in something, one of the so the Henry Cavill Superman obviously doesn't use the John Williams theme, but there have been moments where you'll just get this ba-da-da-da, and then it goes something that
sure.
Is obviously, and that's it, and that's all they give you, and it's kind of blended in with their own soundtrack type thing. And I don't, this isn't New Line Cinema, I don't think. There's probably legal stuff, and it would have cost a bunch of money to get the rights to it. And
sure,
unlike last week when I said, I think they're really doing everything they can to make it feel like it's the same universe, I don't think they are anymore. Having watched episode 2, I don't know. I'm convinced that is no longer the case. I do think they are intentionally trying to distinguish the two, not just from a different timeline setting, but I think they are also trying very adamantly to make it feel like this is its own thing. This is not connected. Yeah. This is a reboot,
right?
In a way. Cool. Do you want to just jump into this?
I do, and I will start just rhetorically, something that I don't actually have an answer for, but something I'm going to ask myself when I watch these episodes, and I hope to have an answer by the end of the show. And then you'll kind of more get into it with nitty-gritty. But something that I want to answer by the end of this show is, which would I rewatch first? The Hobbit trilogy or this? And I'm not here to take pot shots at The Hobbit. I'm just sincerely asking a question. If this show is a success, then it will be, I will rewatch this show prior to The Hobbit.
Right.
the other question I truly want to answer, and again, I'm not taking pot shots, like these both could be taken as jokes and they're not. Is this better than Dune? And what I mean by that is a critique that I think you had, but I think maybe echoed a bit with me, of Dune, was that as lay viewers, we watched it and went, okay, this is interesting. A friend of the show, Marshall, came on, weighed in, and not just Marshall, but other Dune universe fans said, hey, because I or we or whoever has an in-depth knowledge of Dune, this movie is far more rich. And as lay viewers, you and I said, well, that's kind of a flaw that just the lay viewer can't have as good of a time, or can't even have that good of a time at all. So what I'm trying to ask about this show by the end of it is, will this be a show that's predicated on the viewer having in-depth knowledge? Like,
right.
For example, you, who are a little bit more well-read in the Tolkien universe, or does this show appease and appeal to as much the mid-level fans, or just the fans who are like, hey, I've seen Lord of the Rings 20 years ago, and I like TV shows, I'm going to check it out.
Right.
I'm just curious about those two big picture questions.
Yeah, but for me, my guess, with The Hobbit, I think the jury's still out, maybe. I'm leaning towards I would rather watch this. Having said that, I feel like the answer for the Dune thing, I can already answer that. And I think that this is better. I think that yes, this is a show last week and this week as well, where you will get a lot more if you understand, like if you have that background knowledge. But the same can be said about watching Star Wars. The same can be said about watching any of these properties that have an expansive background. Whereas, so yeah, you'll get more out of the Rings of Power if you have that background knowledge. But if you know nothing, you can still kind of sit and watch it, and there's still sort of like, there's a mystery happening, and there's this interesting sort of. I spent the whole time watching Dune, and I was like, I don't. It's not that I don't get the references they're giving me. I don't know what's happening. I don't understand what is happening.
Right.
So to me, that's the big difference.
And what I'll say is, with an 8-part series, I feel like for me, I think my answers might change for both those questions as we go throughout, and it might be more like a graph that. This episode it lands here on the graph. Next episode it lands there on the graph, and at the end I'll connect the dots and go, okay, more times it was on this side versus that side, and it'll be interesting to see. I think there'll be an ebb and flow. I think
I want actual graphics put together that we can upload now. Now that you've said that. So the episode starts out, and much like I had kind of alluded to, Galadriel is in the middle of the Sundering Sea. And she's like, well, shit, I should start swimming, I guess.
I should have brought a life jacket.
So she starts swimming, and I'm like, and it's a beautiful shot. But again, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, girl, you are going to be swimming a while. Like,
girl, you got yourself in this situation. How are you going to get out of it?
Yeah. Like, the lifeboats aren't coming back. There is no...
Yeah,
is anybody alive out there?
The Carpathia isn't coming.
No. So, yeah, she starts swimming. We touch base again with our, I don't know, what do we want to call him? He's officially listed as the Stranger on IMDb. I've heard people refer to him as Meteor Man.
Meteor Man?
Yeah, well, he fell out of the sky as a meteor.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was crossing hairs. I thought you meant the individual who was on. Never mind. Sorry.
No. Sorry, I'm going in order of things that happened in the episode. So then we go and we touch base with the Harfoots and Meteor Man. And I picked up something interesting in this episode. So Nori falls into sort of this crater, and she's noticing that the coals that she lands on, like it's all fire, but none of it is hot. And that's very similar to what happened in the first episode, where their torches weren't giving off any heat because they were in the company of such darkness and such evil that it that it was robbing the warmth of fire.
Right.
Is that a coincidence, or are we seeing? Is there like an evil connection between that and this guy?
Juicy.
Could this be like he fell out of the sky? And I think by the end of the first episode, my thought was, oh well, he's a good guy, and all signs are pointing to, at least in the moment, it like. I don't know. You can't help but wonder: is this Gandalf, or is this one of the blue wizards, or is it like either way? Is this a wizard? Yep. Maybe he's evil though.
Yeah.
Like the jury's out on it. Like really, we don't have an either or on that. So, what is his name? Arondor?
Orander, yeah. Orander.
Yeah.
Arondor,
are the first ever in the history of live action representations are black elf.
Yeah.
And there's been an outcry on the internet, and listen, technically from Tolkien's descriptions of elves, yes, a darker skinned elf doesn't necessarily make sense. But get over yourselves.
Oh, get over
this
it.
Big outcry on the internet. He's a fun, interesting character. Just stop. Just stop.
I really, all those things aside, which are important issues, I really appreciate him as an actor, and I'm really getting into his role.
Sure. Yeah. Now, if we had an elf that was, 5'2" and 195 pounds, I would go, okay, well, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Now we have an issue. We have an issue.
For sure.
He goes down into this orc tunnel, which is creepy as all get out. Mm-hmm. Something we haven't seen before, orc tunnels, in the Middle-earth adaptations. And
what I'll say, because this seems applicable for me to say when you bring up this plot storyline. When I talked about not being that eager to watch episode 2 and just doing it because I had to, as a fan and as a podcast co-host and all that jazz, about midway through this episode, a light switch was flicked, and I did really pull a 180. I will be honest, and it hit at this point in the storyline where not when he discovered that orc tunnel, but when he was pursuing it and going down it, and there was this rekindled interest, and suddenly instead of just going, okay, how many minutes is left in this show, or where are we going to go with this plot-wise, what's going on? I actually I felt a cinematic anxiety and suspense when Arondor was underground, and I'm like, oh, dude, you crazy, but also you're brave and doing your job, so keep going. Like, I so far in this series, midway through episode 2, have now become captivated, and that kind of plot point at that intersection where things are happening, that's where it happened.
Well, and I think so much, it just kind of lends itself to, like, a man likely would not have done that, right? But an elf will. Like, an elf has duty and purpose.
Yes,
and
I was just going to say that's
so the elf is going to push on and pursue the evil, whereas man, who's a little more self-serving, is going to be like, screw that noise. I'm not going in this tunnel.
Right, and it makes sense too, because like you've got this like mortal kind of self-preservation fear that I think in humans that you don't have with elves, and you've got this like longer sense of belonging as in like a more eternal presence and altruistic. So yeah, you're right. It's a duty.
Yeah.
So
then we're back with the other elves in Lindon, and Celebrimbor is chatting with Elrond, Lord Elrond. Well, he's not Lord Elrond at this point, but Harold Elrond. And Celebrimbor is talking about wanting to, he's got this longing inside of him, not just to, like, he doesn't just want to make crowns and make swords and make whatever. Right. He has a longing to build, he has a longing to do something magnificent and build something that will help endure the race and the legacy of elves, right? Like he's got this longing to do something big.
Right.
And for him in the moment right now, it's this great forge that he wants to build. And he needs Elrond's help to do it. And this kind of got me thinking. So for those who don't know, Celebrimbor will go on to forge the Great Rings. He doesn't forge the One Ring itself. That's Sauron who forges that. But he does forge the the Elven rings and stuff like that.
Sure.
And if you are this great elven smith who is longing to do something that is great and create something powerful and all this stuff, and then you're approached by someone who is disguising themselves as the Lord of Gifts, right? Not in his evil, nasty Sauron form, but in a much more presentable, appealing, welcoming form, and talks about creating these wonderful rings of power for the elves. That's bait that's not going to be turned down. He's going to take that bait so quickly.
For sure.
So we see that sort of being set up here already, that he is longing to do this. And that's certainly going to be the downfall of Middle Earth, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We get to see Khazad-dûm, and we get to see it flourishing
in its heyday. In its
heyday, not being overrun by orcs and a Balrog and all of this stuff like cobwebs and whatever. We see the bridge of Khazad-dûm, which will be Gandalf the Grey's undoing.
Did I miss that? Did I miss the bridge of Khazad-dûm?
It's in the background, right? So there's go back and look. It's totally there. Now, again, the design is a little bit different. It's not the exact, but it's this big bridge spanning this epic chasm. So, I mean...
See, I think I have a problem. If it's
be.
not exactly the same, I've got a more problem of that than not using the same theme songs.
Right. Well, but then, again, this sort of solidifies to me that it's their own thing. They've created their own flavor. Durin the Fourth, Prince Durin, is a little butthurt with Elrond. They sort of give, Elrond shows up and he's like, oh, we're going to be, my friend Durin will give us a royal welcome and, all of this stuff. And instead they sort of get the Jabba the Hutt palace treatment and are not permitted entrance until Elrond's like, well, I'll do this ancient thing and break all these rocks and blah, blah, blah. And so that scene sort of unfolds, and it's a fun, interesting scene to watch. The strangers, we touch base with the stranger. He's seeming more and more and more and more and more like Gandalf.
Right.
The stuff that he does with the fireflies and all of that is very reminiscent. He's got to be a wizard. Like, there's definitely some magic going on here. But I don't know. It just seems like it's making him Gandalf as opposed to like a blue wizard or something like that is such low hanging fruit. I can't see them passing that up.
You gotta think.
You gotta.
And
my opinion on it has changed a little bit. I think I'm ready for it to be Gandalf.
Oh, I think I've always been okay with it.
Yeah.
In this circumstance.
Galadriel runs into some people out in the water, as fate would have it, as luck would have it. And I found it so interesting that she, the rift and the animosity between elves and man is so strong that she, immediately covers her ears to hide the fact that she is an elf. And when they find out that she's an elf, it's not just like, oh, treat her not as well. It's throw her ass back in the sea.
Jonah her ass.
Let her die.
Yeah.
We don't want anything to do with her. The big creepy worm thing, that was exciting and mysterious, and I don't know what that was.
And again, another feather in the cap of this show going, wow, this is cinematic level effects and production value. Like, it's not, it's at nighttime, I believe, and raining, and, it's mostly underwater. So there's some things that it's, it's not flexing its full muscle, but it's still very well done. You go, that is beyond what an average TV show can pull off.
Mm-hmm. We meet Halbrand, who is the guy who's sort of accompanying Galadriel. I have a mystery. Something that is so exciting for me that I doubt, I'll be surprised if this is like an interesting mystery and question that needs to be answered for you. I want to know who he is, and I have two theories.
I've been reading up on the Twitterverse of different varying theories.
Oh, I haven't. Is there stuff out there? Are people talking about it?
Well, okay, so I'm reading threads, and some things are like, I don't know how much is like really out to lunch or how much is fathomable or semi-realistic. So the things I've read, it's mainly one, but it's go with your theories, and then I'll see if it was one of them that you said.
So my first theory is me thinking that he is someone is based off of a line that he says while they're on the raft. He says, "Looks can be deceiving."
Right,
when they're talking about Galadriel.
Sure.
And that leads me to the theory that this is Sauron.
Bold.
Yeah. My other theory, and there's nothing really backing it up, this is less of a theory and more of just like a sort of a longing. I think it's what I would rather have happen. But the potential that he will go on to become the Witch King.
Oh, juicy.
Yeah.
Juicy.
That he will sort of, much like Aragorn does, he will band together and sort of attempt to take down Sauron. But unlike Aragorn, who is successful, I think Halbrand will fail and will ultimately, I hope, will fail and become our Witch King. But I do think the Sauron thing is still possible.
Sauron one is new to me, but I like it. I'm there for it. The Nazgul one is one of them that I was looking at, but the one that really I came across, that again, I don't know if it's realistic or not, is that there's some connection that he is the king of the dead.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, and that again, we're so early at this
point. From the Dead
so,
Marshes.
No, from like that Aragorn eventually summons.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. That could be cool. I'm on board for that too.
And so here's where we're at. Like, again, it came at a specific plot point for me, but now we're at this point in the show where we're starting to have some fan theories, and both avid Tolkien fan and just more movie fan like me alike are both
can make those connections.
Are making some connections going, this is tasty. This is juicy. I'm here for it.
Yeah. We touch back in at Khazad-dûm, and we've met Durin's wife and his two children. And there's this really funny thing that his wife says. She's telling this really like beautiful account of some of the rituals of mining, and that we sing to the mountain, we sing to the stone, and it kind of tells us where to dig and where not to dig, and all this stuff. And I thought this was really beautiful, but it was also really funny to me because we are in the exact location where you are going to dig too far and unleash a Balrog.
Right.
So, which was just sort of some foresight, because part of like right now, the dwarves are miners and they do love jewels, but something like, but they don't quite have that level of greed yet, and that greed is going to come out of the rings that are given to the dwarves. And so I think that that's just fascinating that now we have maybe the ring, like in a lot of ways the rings were part of their undoing. It's definitely what led to the dragon, like Smaug showing up and taking Erebor, and coveting the Arkenstone the way that they do, and all of this stuff. So to me, that was just, I don't know, it was really fascinating.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We're told that the tree in Khazad-dûm is that the one in Lindon it represents his people's strength and their vitality, which just shows us so much more that at the end of the first episode, where a leaf from that tree is like black and rotting.
Yes.
That's 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 a powerful thing.
Right.
Halbrand has a mysterious pouch around his neck with sort of a insignia on it that I don't know what it means. But I certainly think we're going to touch base with that again. Theo the boy, who apparently hates mice so damn much. This was the one moment where I'm like, he's like, oh, mice. And he's like, starts smashing a hole through the floor of his house.
Right? It's like, oh, yeah, no.
To me, that was just that was a development. That was a plot point. It was a piece that was there simply to progress the narrative. And it was like, okay.
Right.
But we do get our depiction of orcs. This was another thing that sort of, I loved it. I was super on board with this orc. But it was something else that sort of nailed down for me. Okay, this is cool. It's a practical orc. Thank God that this is a practical orc, because it looks and feels so good. But it does feel. It's just a slightly different flavor than Peter Jackson's orcs. And so that, what else do I have real quick?
Which I'm not even convinced, like, that could mean it's a separate timeline, but also being so far in the future, like, maybe they've just changed over
evolved.
time.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe they've become more inbred, like the ones we saw in Uruk-hai aside. No, I'm being serious. Like, Uruk-hai aside, who look very different, these orcs that we see in Peter Jackson's trilogy, like, they look like they've got crooked teeth and like they're missing an eye.
They're much more in. So what you're saying is Peter Jackson's orcs, like, by the time the third age comes,
it's like
orcs are much more into their cousins than they are.
Than they were, yeah. Like, maybe on the spectrum, this is closer to being fallen elves than where they are in the third age.
Than a bunch of hick orcs that are just
exactly
bringing lube to family reunions. Okay. We get Theo's, like, his Mordor sword thing that happens where the blood kind of flows up his arm into the sword. That's creepy, and I don't know what it means, but I assume he brings the sword with him.
Yeah.
And so we'll definitely see that unfold. One last thing I wanted to say, and this is one of those, like, deviations from Tolkien lore that has me a little shook right now. So we see Prince Durin the Fourth, go and talk to Durin the Third, his father, King Durin. There shouldn't be two Durins existing at the same time. So the dwarves believe in reincarnation, and that Durin is a name that is given to someone with the same likeness and mannerisms, and like, it's sort of, Durin is a name that's sort of awarded to you, and you are believed to be the reincarnation of the original Durin. And so having two of them at the same time doesn't really make sense. But they're coveting something. Their most recent discovery that they don't want the elves to find out about. And I think I know what it is.
It's a coincidence they've come.
Right. And I think I know what's in that box.
Yeah.
I think they've just discovered Mithril.
That'd be cool.
That'd be so cool. That's literally all I have. I just want to ask you, because I don't think we touched on this in the first episode, and I think this is I don't think we need to rate the episodes, like a scale of 1 to 10. But win or fail, was this episode of Rings of Power a win for you, or did it not really, like, where on that graph that you're going to create so gloriously for us, is this a high point, or did this not work?
Oh, quite clearly a high point. Like I said, episode 1 left me very neutral and like a wet sock. and I wasn't eager to jump in. And even for the first part of episode 2, wasn't that keen about it. But then it really turned. And not only did I enjoy it, but now I was thirsty for episode 3. And so I would say it's, of the two, probably my favorite. Probably has sucked me in more. So I would say...
I concur. This is a better episode than episode 1. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
Perfect.
It was a win for me too.
Thank you.
Wrap this up, sir.
Thank you for listening, everyone. We both found it a win, and we find it a win whenever you join us. Like, follow, subscribe, check out all the socials below, check out our Patreon page, merchandise page. Help us to help you, or just do whatever you feel like doing. And until we chat about episode 3...
Well, and more importantly, join the conversation. Let us know in comments or messages or emails or what have you.
I did. Let me
what you're thinking of this show.
Let's streamline it. Either comment on the episode post or Facebook message us. Those are the two easiest ways to message us. So if
Candygram. If you want to have someone show up at our door with candy singing, we won't turn them away.
Yeah. Let us know if you thought it was a win or not. What do you think?
Yeah,
we'd love to hear.
But I would still like candy.